Okay. So we'll start with the oven, the sink, the refrigerator, the tables, and the countertops. Let's go to the refrigerator first. The refrigerator just needs to be thoroughly cleaned. You don't have to cover any shelves on the refrigerator, and not only that, but you should not cover any shelves there, because that messes up the airflow in the refrigerator and it could harm your food. So the refrigerator just needs to be thoroughly cleaned. Same thing with the freezer. You may need to defrost your freezer if you don't have one that does it by itself all the time. So you defrost your freezer, clean it out, make sure everything is completely clean, and then you can put your Pesach food right in there. In a certain way, the refrigerator is the easiest because you don't have to do any koshering, but some refrigerators are a little complicated in terms of taking apart the shelves and putting it back in. That might take you a little bit of time. Now let's go from there to the kitchen table, and this same thing would apply to your dining room table, and for that matter, any table that you're going to be eating from. So what you should do is clean the table. And if the table is one that pulls apart, to put in extra leaves, so pull it apart and clean that as well. Then put it back together. Once your table is clean, and you should clean the tabletop and also the rim around the table and anything that's visible there, then at that point, put one layer of some kind of plastic, like a plastic table liner, over the top of your table. That's something that's not penetrable in general. And then on top of that, you put a clean tablecloth. That plastic table liner, which is directly on the table, that should be there all the time. That should not be uncovered. If you have to switch it, you just take it off and put on another one, but don't leave your table uncovered. So once again, clean it, put on a plastic table liner, and then put a regular tablecloth on top of that. Being that we're talking about tablecloths, you don't have to kosher them in any way. You just launder them in your washing machine and use laundry detergent, which we would all do anyway. That's all you have to do. If you have an older tablecloth that has some kind of a crusted on food that doesn't come off, then you should put that away for Pesach. If it's just a stain, then the stain is not a problem. A stain is just discoloration. So if you launder your tablecloth and it's clean, but it's slightly discolored, that's not a problem. Okay, so that's tables. And in terms of all the chairs, they just have to be thoroughly cleaned. You wipe them off, your dining room chairs and your kitchen chairs. That's what we're talking about. All right, now we'll move ahead to countertops. For those who tuned in more recently, I'm first talking about the kitchen. If you have some questions as I'm talking, please write them down. And then when I finish talking about the kitchen, I'm going to stop, and then we'll take questions after this segment. Okay, now as far as the stove, if you have a self-cleaning oven, then you put your oven on self-clean. That koshers the inside of your oven. Everything is taken care of just by doing that, including the racks inside the oven. Now, what you do have to be a little careful with is that the oven door, closes like this. Here's the door and it closes. Where the door closes onto the oven, that rim around that is not always going to get the same kind of cleaning action. So make sure you clean that surface area there before you turn your oven on self-clean, then you shut the door, and of course it's going to be fine. Likewise, that same rim around your oven door, which is going to meet up against your oven, the actual oven, make sure that's very clean as well. Then you close the oven, put it on self-clean, and then you're done. Now, as far as the top of the oven, we have gas ovens, we have electric ovens, and we have glass top ovens. Now, for an electric range, all you have to do is turn on the burners till they get red hot and leave them red hot for about 5 minutes. It's extremely hot, it koshers itself. If you see that it's still smoking after 5 minutes, that means there's still some food burning off on there. Then just leave that for another couple minutes until that all burns off. Now, when it comes to a gas stove, what you have are grates. And the grates have to be koshered properly. There's a few different ways to do that. So first of all, clean them very well. You might need to use some oven cleaner to get some of the stuff off in there, something that will really get the crusted on food off good. So clean them very well. And after they're clean, you could take a new blech. I can get a new blech in A to Z. They have them, although make sure to keep 6 feet distant when you're in any store, and make sure to wipe off the blech when you get home, and be very careful going into stores in general, as we all know. So you get a new blech, you can lay the blech down on top of the grates, turn it on high for about, I'd say 20 minutes or so. It's going to get extremely hot underneath there, and then your grates will be koshered. Now, underneath the grates, there's usually like these jets where the gas comes out of and the fire comes out of. Just got to clean those off. They will kosher themselves when you turn the gas on. When you turn the fire on, it will kosher itself. You also have, in many models of stoves, pans, or like drip pans underneath. Those should be cleaned, and I would advise you to cover them with silver foil. Just clean them and cover them. You can use a lightweight silver foil. It doesn't need to be super heavy, but they should be covered, and then you're good with that. Another thing you can do with your grates is after you have self-cleaned your oven, you can take the grates from on top, which you have already thoroughly cleaned, put them in your oven, turn it on to 550, which is the highest it goes on, and leave the grates in there for an hour. That will kosher the grates. It's not advisable, not in terms of kosherous, but just in terms of the appearance of your grates. It's not advisable to put the grates in the self-cleaning oven when you self-clean it, because it will burn the surface off of your grates. Now, if you don't mind, you can do it. Just that they'll be discolored and they don't look as nice. If you don't mind, you can put them in the self-cleaning oven. That's okay. But you don't need to. They just need to go into the oven after it's been koshered. Put them in once again for 1 hour at 550 degrees, and they're okay. Now, if you don't have a with the glass top. With the glass stove top, you also turn it on high. Let it get red hot, I'd say for about 10 minutes. And then that's going to kosher itself. Now, the thing is, on the glass stove tops, it's only that area that gets koshered. The area that's around it does not get koshered. So what the Star K advises you to do is not put your pots directly on that, because it's very likely it's going to move off of that circle and touch something else. So you should do something to kind of get it. It's like a trivet that will allow you to put your pot on the glass top without being directly on it. It can't be a trivet which is flammable, obviously. It needs to be something metal. So that's something which the glass stove tops are a little more complicated with, because of this issue that you're going to kosher that area, but it can easily go on to another part of the stove. And covering the stove top, a glass top with foil, is not recommended, because apparently they crack because of the heat spreads out. So you do have a little problem with this. I would recommend that take a look at the website of either the Star K or the OU or the CRC in Chicago, and see if they also have some eitzos regarding koshering a glass stovetop. They probably do. I'm just citing one way to do it, but it has its problems. Now, as far as the the stove top itself, we're not talking about a glass top anymore, just the regular one, gas or electric. Clean the top of the range very well, and then cover it with foil. As far as the control panel, clean all of the dials and the knobs very well, clean everything really well. Use some kind of Windex or bleach or some kind of a cleaning agent. Clean that real well, and then you're fine. Some people like to cover that area up there with foil too, and if you want to do that, you can, but I don't feel that you have to. Likewise, the knobs on the front of your stove of your range, where you adjust the flame level, those have to be very, very thoroughly cleaned. And some people like to cover those with foil as well, but you don't have to. If you want to, you can. It's a stringency, but if you want to be stringent on Pesach, you can. Now, as far as a stove which is not self-cleaning, but a regular stove, you have to clean out the stove really well. That in general, that requires to be sprayed with oven cleaner. And you let it sit there for an hour or 2 or 3, does its work, then you clean it all off and the stove inside is clean. And you got to scrub it because that takes work. When it's all clean, you then turn on your stove for an hour at 550 degrees, and that will kosher the inside of your stove. In that situation, you could take the grates on top, if you have grates, clean them and put them in your oven because it's not self-cleaning, it's not going to ruin them. You can do it at the same time. Right, so that is the stove. And now we'll go to the sink and the countertops and the cabinets, and then I'll stop for some questions. If you have a stainless steel sink, you can kosher it. The way to kosher that is you boil water, and
Hi, how are you doing?
You boil water, and the pots that you use have to be clean and unused for 24 hours. They don't have to be Pesach, but clean and unused for 24 hours. And you have to put them on top of a burner which has already been koshered, or a grate which has already been koshered. So you then boil that water, and after you clean your stainless steel sink, you have to wait 24 hours from the time you cleaned it before you kosher it with hot water. You can use your sink for something that's cold water or warm water. That's okay. You cannot use your sink for 24 hours with hot water. So you clean it, wait 24 hours, not using it with hot water. Then you take your pot of hot water and pour it over the entire surface of the sink. Before you do that, you have to make sure that the pot is boiling, meaning the water is bubbling. Then you lift it off your stove, pour it over the whole stove top. That takes care of it. Now, in addition, let me just adjust this for 1 second. This will be a little easier to see me. Okay, so when you pour it over the whole stovetop of the whole sink, you have to usually use a couple of pots of water for that, because one is not going to be enough to get every single surface of the sink. We're talking about the floor of the sink, the walls of the sink, the lip of the sink, and also the faucets there on top. Got to clean everything and pour hot water. It usually takes several pots full of hot water to do that. I want to give you an eitzah, something that I found very helpful the past several years. If you take those hot water boilers that you plug in, and they boil the water very quickly. It takes about 3-4 minutes, maybe 5 to boil the water, and it has a spout. And the spout, you can aim the hot water much easier than you can with a big pot of water. And you just take that spout and go over your whole sink. It goes much more quickly that way. Also, if you use a tea kettle, obviously Pesach or clean and not used for 24 hours, does the same thing. You can boil the water in there much more quickly on your stove, and because it has a spout, you can aim it. Now, when you're koshering the walls of your sink, let's say that's the wall of your sink. You have to take the hot water and pour it so it hits the wall and drops down. it's not enough if you pour it up here and the water hits here and runs down. You got to pour it over the whole wall. It needs to hit, the hot water needs to hit the whole surface of your sink. So you do that for the sink itself and for the faucets after they've been cleaned. That kashers your sink. That is kind of a mess, and you have a lot of water all over the place when you do that. I always put several towels on the floor before I kosher my sink, and also towels on the side of the sink because the water rushes over everywhere, and to make sure to just kind of stop the water. Okay, that's the sink. If you have a sink which is not stainless steel, but the other, what do you call porcelain, then you can't kosher it because porcelain is not a kosherable substance. So you clean it really well and then either get a sink liner, you can also buy those in the stores, you can cover it with foil, or you can take a large bin and put it inside of there and put your stuff always in the bin. It's really advisable if you can't kosher your sink because it's porcelain, after you clean it, to cover it. You got it, because otherwise something's going to happen. So cover it, and if you use the bins, I still would advise you to cover your sink, even if you're going to be using the bins, or use a sink liner. They sell those nowadays. As far as the countertops and the cabinets, the countertops need to be thoroughly cleaned. If you have granite countertops, you can pour hot water over them just like you did for your sink and kosher them. That's also a big mess, but you can do it. And if you have Formica countertops, those have to be cleaned and covered. You can cover them with contact paper, silver foil. You can buy those countertop covers they have at A to Z. Cover them whichever way you want. Now, similarly with cabinets that you're going to be using for Pesach, they have to be cleaned and they should be lined with something. Same thing, contact paper, silver foil, whatever you want to line your cabinets. Now that's the end of the kitchen area, but I do want to add a couple of things because of this year, and if we end up having a much smaller Pesach crowd than we usually do because we're all confined to our homes. So if things continue this way and we're going to be making much less food and for much less people, I would definitely advise you to not use all of your cabinet space for Pesach. There will be no need to do that. So just choose a cabinet or two that you're going to use and clean them out for Pesach, or 3, whatever you need. And the other ones, just put a piece of tape across it, and the stuff that's inside of there will be sold with your chametz. That could possibly save you a lot of time. No need to do things that you don't have to do. Okay, now we'll take some questions on the kitchen, and if you wouldn't mind, just unmute yourself as you want to ask a question, and I will try and call on you. If you're going to ask a question, raise your hand as you unmute yourself, and I'll be able to see you. Unless you're not there on a picture, then I won't be able to see you. Okay, so Glenna, go ahead, please.
Yes, what if you have the kind of stove that it's not self-cleaning, but it's got a surface on it that is absorbent, that it's not supposed to need cleaning. You can certainly turn the heat up to 550, but you can't really clean the side walls.
Well, does that mean that the side walls actually still have food on them?
Well, it's hard to tell. I mean, it's supposed to be absorbed into it.
Yeah, there's a continuous clean, I think they call that.
That's it.
So you got to do, it's true that you cannot use oven cleaner on that because they say it ruins it.
Right.
But you have to do something that perhaps non-abrasive that would clean the walls of the stove. Maybe call the company. Got to do something to clean it. Maybe just soap and water would do it if it's a continuous clean. And then once it's clean, you burn it out on 550.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Howard?
I have a question about the stove top,
I'm sorry, who's talking?
electric stove top.
I'm sorry, who am I talking to? I can't see you.
Felicia Graver,
Okay, Felicia, go ahead.
the stove top of my oven. How do I kosher that?
Did you say it's electric?
Yes.
Okay, so the electric stove top, you clean the top of the stove really well. Then the burners, you turn them on high till they're red hot, and you leave them on for 5 to 10 minutes. If you leave them on for 5 minutes and they're not smoking anymore, then you're done. If they're still smoking, give it another couple minutes until they stop. Now the drip trays that are underneath it, you can either replace them or you can clean them and cover them with foil. And then the top of the stove, you clean it and cover it with foil.
My burners do not get red hot. They just get hot, but they're not red.
Is it electric?
Yes.
And when you put it on high, they don't get red hot?
No.
Okay, I imagine it's
They
still
get very
pretty
hot,
right?
but they don't get red.
Okay, so just leave it on high, but because I'm not quite sure what's happening there while we don't turn red, leave it on for 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Shalamis, go ahead. I can see you.
Okay, I have 4 questions. Those 4 questions.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the first question is, do we have to foil or cover the edges of the counters?
You mean the part that curves over the counter?
Yeah,
I would say that you should, yes.
okay. Okay,
Now,
that's,
I'll make one exception to that.
yeah,
You know, when they sell those countertop covers, like an A to Z,
right,
and sometimes they protrude like
Yeah.
a half an inch over your counter. So you're not going to be bumping up against that lip there. So if the top of your counter is covered and it protrudes, then just clean the lip really well. I would say that's sufficient. But if you're using foil or contact paper and foil, you should wrap it over the edge and cover it.
okay, great, thank you.
Mhm.
Do we need to foil the outside door of the oven?
No, you do not.
Okay, great,
Just clean it I didn't talk about that, thank you. The outside door to the oven, just clean it really well, including the handle that you're gonna, obviously be touching all the time.
okay. You mentioned the hot water boilers. I'm assuming they have to be kosher Pesach? I'm assuming, if you're gonna,
The hot water boilers,
that you mentioned,
you can clean it really well
okay,
and then fill it up to the top and boil the water in it.
so they could be ones that you have now used for every day? It's
Yeah, as
okay,
long as they're clean.
clean.
I wouldn't use that for Pesach itself because I would just
Okay.
be concerned about the level of not be able to get to everything. But in terms of koshering with it, it's certainly clean enough to do that. And when you
Okay.
boil the water inside of it, you're okay. So that's all right.
Okay, great. And my final question is concerning the table. I already have a plastic piece that I all around have under my table. I can't use that one, right? I would have to replace that for Pesach.
You mean it's around during the year?
Yeah, I have it all the time on. Yeah.
Yeah, you can cover it. You could clean it and cover it
Oh, okay.
like you would the tabletop itself.
Okay.
That would
Okay.
be okay.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sure. Howard? Yeah. You have to unmute, Howard. Howard? You have a question?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Gotcha. Hi, I'm Howard's here finally.
Oh, that's another Howard.
When you said earlier using a table liner as the separation, do you mean what we usually use during the year, thin plastic over a nice tablecloth? Is that a table liner or
Yes.
be something of substance?
No, that's okay. One of those thin plastic table liners that you normally put on top of your tablecloth,
Put it under.
put it underneath your tablecloth, and that's okay. And you're
Okay.
fine.
Thank you.
Sure. Elisa, yeah.
My self-cleaning oven, the self-cleaning function doesn't shut itself off. So how long does it have to be on self-clean for?
3 hours is okay.
Okay. And then also, do you have to do anything about if I have a cabinet that kind of comes out over my stove? Does that have to be covered, the bottom of that cabinet where the steam goes up to?
Yes, what I would suggest with that, how high is it off your stove?
Maybe a foot.
A foot, okay. So you should clean that really well and then put a layer of foil there as well.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you.
Rabbi, I had a question.
Yes,
On top of the stove is a fan.
mm-hmm.
Should one not use that, or just clean the grates and that's sufficient?
Don't use that fan on Pesach.
That's what I was asking.
It's impossible to clean up there. And similar to Elisa's question, I would recommend wiping it off. You don't have to clean, every single little hole in that fan there. Just wipe the whole thing off and cover it with a piece of foil.
I see. Okay. My grates come out, so you can wash them, but there'd be edges around where the grates sit that you probably couldn't get.
You're talking about the grates on top of your stove?
No, the grates in the fan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So if you can, take them down and clean them and then put them back up and cover it.
Yeah. Okay.
Who is this person here?
Rabbi,
Yes.
I have something for Felicia. Are you there, Felicia?
Yes, I am.
Yes, Felicia,
Yes,
do one burner at a time. Don't attempt to do more than one because the amount of heat could cause a lot of damage and problems.
Thank you.
And even for everybody just doing for 5 minutes, even sometimes doing 2 at a time can cause problems. So please don't make trouble for yourself. I'm going to mute because of my clock.
Okay,
Thank you,
thank you.
Thank you, Glenna.
Thank you.
There's a young man with his hand up. I can't quite see who it is.
It's Yosef.
Who is that?
Yosef.
No, I'm not talking to Yosef yet.
Rabbi,
I can-
it's Elon. I'm
It's
sorry.
Elon. Hi, Elon. How are you?
Sorry.
Oh my God, how are you?
Okay. How are you?
Good. So my question is, when you're for the pouring water over the sink and the countertops, does that have to be specifically a parve dish, or does it not matter?
Does it have to be
I
what?
just want to know if it's a parve pot, or does it matter if it's flake or milk?
No. It can be anything as long as it's clean and has not been used for 24 hours.
Okay.
It could be
All right,
milchig,
thank
fleshig, parv, clean and unused for 24 hours. Even a chametz stick pot, you can use
Yeah.
for doing that.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yosef, did you have a question?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
I can.
Very good. Okay. Sorry if I interrupt anything. That's first of all.
You're fine.
Okay. Thank you. I do not cook, Rabbi Goldberger. So does it mean I still have to kosher my oven?
You do not. All you got to do is close your oven, take a piece of tape, and put it across your oven so you can't open it. And everybody else here is very jealous of you.
But can I kosher my microwave, Rabbi?
I do not suggest using microwaves on Pesach. There are ways to kosher them, but I'm not comfortable with it for Pesach
Why?
because I'm not. And I would just suggest to tape it off and not use it. For those who really want to use a microwave because they're very convenient, we use them all the time. Try and buy an inexpensive new microwave for Pesach.
Okay, I could do that. Do I have to kosher that new one?
No, no,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Could I ask a question?
Yes, who is that?
Meira Regis.
Hi, Meira.
Hi. Okay, I have a few questions.
Sure.
When you were talking about the grates and you
Yes.
said something about the blech and putting in the oven, were those two different options or you need to do both?
With the grates, there are two options. Well, first of all, you have to clean it.
Right, and then the two options are different options?
Yeah, so one option is to either put a blech on top of it and turn it on hot for about 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That will spread the fire around and kosher it. The other is to put it inside of your oven after your oven has been koshered, and put it inside of your oven for an hour at 550.
Okay. And then for the sink, do you need to dry in between each pouring?
No, you don't.
Okay. And our oven, we have an Aqualift oven. I don't know if you're.
I don't know what that means. What is that?
It's called Aqualift Self Clean. It doesn't clean as well as regular self cleans. You put water somewhere and it somehow cleans the oven, but I don't think it goes to very high temperature. Is there any way to use that?
Well, does the oven itself have a setting for 550 degrees?
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds to me you're going to have to kosher that oven the way you would kosher a non-self-cleaning oven, which is to clean it and clean the grates and then turn it on 550 for an hour.
Okay. And but that can be with the grates?
Yeah, but when it comes to the grates inside your oven, if you don't have a self-cleaning oven, you have to clean those grates really well. They're very dirty in general. They got a lot of schmutz on them. And it usually takes oven cleaner to get the stuff off of the grates.
Okay.
And then after they're clean, you put them in your oven for an hour at 550 degrees. If you have a self-cleaning oven, it will take care of the grates as well. You also might want to ask somebody who has a self-cleaning oven if you can put your grates in there when they do their self-cleaning oven, because that'll be a lot easier than spraying them and cleaning them.
Okay, so if we did that, cleaning the inner walls of the oven, do you use oven cleaner for that in order to get?
Yes, that's normally you would spray those with oven cleaner. Now, I don't know the kind of oven that you have. You have to see if the oven cleaner is going to be okay for the surface of it.
Okay.
But if it is, you should use oven cleaner, and if not, then whatever you can do to clean the walls.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Hi,
Sure.
Rabbi Goldberger.
Yeah, who is that?
It's Aviva Saltman. How are you?
Okay, Viva, how are you?
Baruch Hashem. I came in about 10 minutes after you had already started talking, so I'm sorry. I know I'm going to ask something that's already been asked. When I take the boiling water and pour it over my sink and my counters, how many times do I do that?
Just one time, but you do have to pour it over the whole surface of your stainless steel sink. And that usually takes a couple of kettles full. Your counters, are they granite?
No, my sink is stainless steel, but my counters are Formica.
Okay,
And
so
I did it last.
you can kosher Formica. You just have to clean it really well and cover it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did it last year. I asked the management, Mr. Benowitz, and he told me that's how I could do it, that the counters would be fine. Are you saying is that halachically?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm speaking from a halachic point of view. Formica is not a kosherable material. So you just have to clean it really well and cover it.
Okay. Boy. Okay.
Good?
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
Could
Anybody else?
Could I ask one more question?
Yes.
So in terms of oven cleaner,
Yeah.
I know in the past we've used the yellow one, which is heavy duty. They make one that also says it's an oven cleaner, but it's fume free. Is it okay to get that one just because the other one has such
Yeah,
no?
it's fine. It's fine. It's much easier on your lungs too.
Okay.
Rabbi, I have a question.
Sure.
I have a water filter. want to know what you recommend for cleaning that. It has a plastic faucet. The inside of it is actually cleanable because it's ceramic. I only use it for water, obviously. The outside is plastic. What should I do
This
with
is
that?
a water filter that is connected to your sink, your tap.
Yes,
You have to clean it.
okay,
If you clean it really well, you're okay.
okay. So I don't have to pour water on it or anything like that?
What's it made out of?
The faucet that comes out of it is plastic. The housing of the unit itself is plastic. Inside, when you unscrew it, it's ceramic. It's a ceramic candle. They call it a candle.
Okay,
But that's covered up. You see that?
that's covered up.
Yeah.
The ceramic part doesn't come into contact with water
It
when you're
does.
using it?
It does.
It does?
Yes.
And I would still say you could just clean it thoroughly and you're okay. And
Okay.
I'll add one thing to it just to be a little extra careful. Pour hot water over it.
Pour hot water over the plastic part.
Yeah, the plastic part. With the ceramic, it doesn't help, but the plastic part and the metal part, just pour hot water, boil hot water and pour it over it.
Okay.
And the rest of it, the ceramic part, just clean it. It's okay.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Is that Talia or John? Yeah,
Yeah, we have a couple questions, Rabbi.
sure.
One is if we use a kettle that we use during the year to kosher our sinks, it's sort of an embarrassing question, but how clean does it have to be? Because it only ever has water in it, but it's not so easy. It's like not shiny at all. It's hard to get it like perfectly clean.
I wouldn't use it.
Don't use it. Okay.
You should get a new kettle
Okay.
and do it. The reason I said you could use the ones that you plug in and boil the water and clean it, they're much easier to clean.
Yeah.
They're all plastic, they're all smooth and shiny, they're much easier to clean. But a
Okay.
kettle that's been around for a while is just too hard to clean it for Pesach. Just get a new kettle.
Okay. And when you were saying something about a hot water pot being okay to use for Pesach, is that you're talking about the what are those called? Somebody said in the chat what they're called. The little diffuser.
Kum. Oh,
You're not talking about a hot water pump that you use during the year. You weren't saying you can use your water pump.
No, I
No,
was talking about the plug-in hot water boilers.
Yes.
And
you're
you could
only
use it, clean
Use
it,
it to
and,
kosher your sink,
right,
but not, yeah, you can't use one of those that you use during the year
right,
during Pesach. Yeah, okay.
correct.
Thank you.
Sure. I
Rabbi?
think somebody, who's that, Elisa? Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
Rabbi, it's Penny.
Oh, well, hold on a second. Benny didn't get a turn yet.
It's okay, go ahead.
He's the
Sorry.
president. He's got to get a turn. Sorry, Benny, didn't see you.
Nice to see you guys. Quick question. The backsplash, whether it's granite, laminate, or just sheetrock, does it have to get, or tile, does it have to get covered right on top of the counters? The wall that's behind the counters.
I tell people to cover the backsplash up to about 6-8 inches. You don't gotta go all the way up the wall, but it's continually splashed with food and it's continually touched. So yes, you should cover the backsplash for about 6 to 8 inches. I'm sorry, you're muted, Benny. You're muted.
Sorry, I said okay, thanks.
Okay, did you have another question? Okay, great. Okay, that was Elisa we were on.
Yeah, I had another question for you.
Uh-huh.
In the sink, so we have a garbage disposal in the sink, and
Yeah.
so there's kind of a rubber piece in the bottom where food, I guess, where everything goes down into. So how does that affect things, especially?
Just clean it really well and pour hot water over it.
Okay.
You're talking about that rubber stuff that's right inside the drain of your sink?
Yes.
Yeah, clean it and pour hot water over it is fine.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh. Gail, is that a question you have?
Yes.
Go ahead, Gail.
Hi, Rabbi.
Hi.
A hummus stick pot on the Pesach stove. Really?
Okay. So you would not do that on Pesach, right?
I wouldn't do it every Pesach.
So what you do have to do is like, let's kosher a burner or two. You don't have to kosher your whole stove. Kosher a burner or two. Then your hummus stick pot needs to be very clean and unused for 24 hours. And then, yes, you can put it on your Pesach stick koshered burner to boil hot water to kosher your sink.
It just seems to like fly in the face of how we do everything for Pesach and heat transferring. And
Now, because it's clean and unused for 24 hours,
it doesn't transfer.
it will not affect your stovetop before Pesach.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to keep using the Okay, it's just, okay, thank you.
Sure. I can't quite see everybody. Does anybody else have something they want to ask? Is that Deborah?
This is Devorah Sherman.
Okay, Deborah.
Hi. I was just thinking about Gail's question. Are you allowed to use a Pesach pot to kosher your hummus stick sink?
Well, you'd have to be really careful with that, because if you make contact between the two of them, you may have to end up koshering your Pesach pot.
Okay, so that's why you said that it should
Yeah.
better be a hummus stick pot
Yeah.
or one of those hot water things. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Howard here when you're ready.
I think Deborah had her hand up. Deborah Tassel.
I did. Yes, I did. So we're still on the same subject of the sink. I find it, could you just explain again? Like, I know you're supposed to touch every part of the sink. It's hard to figure out where that water is actually, like it's all flowing down, So I usually actually make like a chart so I can keep track. But like,
right,
because otherwise I forget where I was. But
right.
really, you mean like the side of the sink is here, you have to like make it pour here and then make it pour underneath and make it pour underneath like that? Is that what we're talking about?
So I'm saying this, that if you pour water, over here,
Mm-hmm.
and the water drips down like this,
Yeah.
the only part that's koshered is over here.
Uh-huh.
You got to pour water like that. You got to pour it.
Like move if this is the spout, move the spout down like that.
Hold on a second, so I have to make sure I see. Hold on a second. Go ahead.
Move this, like this is, if this is the kettle, you just
Right.
move the water spout down like
Right.
this as you're going.
Right. You want to pour it, take your pot and move down. So you're pouring it down over the surface.
I see.
Yeah. And similarly, let's say the floor of the sink. So you pour water over here. Over here is kosher. The water runs over here. That's not kosher. You got to take the thing and pour it like that in a sweeping motion across the whole floor of your sink and across the walls and the rim. So you're basically moving that pot around a lot to make sure you get all the surface area.
Right. Okay. Okay. Fine. Thank you.
Sure. Does
Question
someone
for
else have a question?
Howard?
Howard, Babakasha.
Do you or does anyone else know, are they doing any sites for Hagala this year?
The communal koshering events are not happening this year on account of the restrictions due to the coronavirus.
Can you therefore tell us how to do Hagala correctly?
Thank you very much. Okay, so Hagala. So similar to koshering the sink, take a burner or two and clean it really well, and then burn it out. Then you can take a hummus stick pot, and yes, Gail, you heard me correctly, a hummus stick pot, which is clean and unused for 24 hours. You need a big pot, like a big soup pot usually. Boil that. When the water is boiling, which means to say it's bubbling, you can see the bubbles. That's called ma'ale resicha in halacha. It's bringing up bubbles. Now, say you got some silverware. Your silverware also should be clean and not used for 24 hours. Then you drop a piece of silverware in there, let it sit there for a couple seconds. That's all it needs. Pull it out with the pliers or with a new tongs, and or a tongs which is also used year-round but clean and unused for 24 hours. Pull it out of the hot water, and right next to your boiling hot water, just a couple inches away, you're supposed to have another pot filled with cold water. You take out the silverware from there and drop it into the cold water. Same thing with your bechers. Drop a becher in there, a kiddush cup. Let it sit in there for just a couple seconds. That's really all that it needs. Pull it out with the pliers or tongs. Drop it in the cold water. Sometimes after you've done, let's say, several pieces of silver in a row, because the silver is cool, much cooler than the water, so it may cool down the water so it's not boiling. It's plenty hot, but it's not boiling. So give it 5 seconds until it starts to bubble again, and then proceed. And that's how you kosher. If you want to kosher something that's too big to fit in the pot at once, you can put in half and then lift it out, turn it around, and do the other half. You're not allowed to do that when it comes to toveling kalim in a mikveh. There you have to have the whole keli underneath the mikveh water. But when it comes to koshering, which is a different thing altogether, all we're concerned about is that the entire surface of that kli got under hot water. So half, another half, that's fine.
Can I follow up question?
Please.
So do you have to take it out right away and put it, so let's say it's forks and knives. Can I drop them in the hot one at a time, and then pull them out into the cold, or I've got to do it separate each time?
You can do that up till a point. The problem is where if you drop a knife in and then once it hits the bottom, right?
Right.
So it's not koshering anymore because that surface is not exposed to the water. So if you have a bunch of silver that's gathered there together and it's blocking the water, that's not okay. But for a couple of pieces, if you drop one in, then move over a little bit, drop in another one, that's gonna be okay. Now, also, if you have dropped it in and it's resting on the bottom there, like it's gonna do on the bottom of the pot, so just move it a little bit with your pliers or your tongs, just move it over so it can get a little more water there.
Okay, and same thing on the cold, can I just drop it in the cold, leave it?
That's fine.
Okay.
Just drop it in the cold and leave it there, and there's no problem with letting it sit there in the cold water for however long you want.
And the tongs, once again, can be either newly bought or chametz, or can you use pesadika?
They can be newly bought. They can be chametz, which is clean and unused for 24 hours. They could also be Pesach thick as well. They should also, at the end, I would advise to drop them in as well.
Also.
Yeah, they don't really become chametz thick, but it's a good idea to just drop them in as well.
But then you couldn't get them out.
Yeah, you have to use the pliers probably.
Then you probably use, okay, very good, thank you.
Don't pull it out with your hands.
Yes, I have to remember that.
Could I say something?
Yes, please.
Well, and you'll tell me, this is what I do, but I hope that it's okay. I tie the pieces to silverware to string, like two string, one on each end of the strings. So I hold the middle. I drop one in, drop another one in, and then put it in the cold water.
That's fine as long as the string is loose. So
Yeah, it's loose.
So then water can get in
It's
there.
thread. It's like sewing thread anyway, which is very thin.
Okay.
But I don't tie it very tightly because then anyway you can't get it off easily once it's tied tightly.
Yeah, as long as it's loose and the water's getting in there, that's fine.
And I see someone on the chat over here wants to know if the tongs want to be toveled. They need to be toveled. If you buy new tongs, do they have to be toveled?
They don't need to be toveled for this. But if you're going to be using them later for ice, or something like that, then of course they have to be toveled. But if they're just going to be used for this purpose and nothing else, they don't need to be toveled.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Elisa, yeah. Elisa Mandel, you're muted.
Sorry, my dog was barking.
I thought you were going to say your dog muted the screen. He's a pretty clever
No.
guy.
From what I understand, all the Kalim mikvot are closed now. So what do we do if we buy new things for Pesach?
Okay, now everybody needs to listen to this very, very carefully. It's not a halacha that we would normally rely on. We have had at the Vada Rabbanim of Baltimore several meetings over the past week for many, many, many hours. The first several were devoted to the whole situation with the coronavirus and making the protocols for our community. The last meeting we had was all about talking about things like how do people tovel their kalim, because we can't have a lot of people gathered around the mikveh. We're defeating all of our rules about not going to shul and not gathering. If you got 25 people standing there near the mikveh at the Agudah to tovel their kalim, that's not safe in terms of the environment that we live in now. So there was the conclusion of amongst the Vada Rabbanim, and this is supported by both Rabbi Hopper and Rabbi Heinemann, is that this year you can do the following. Number one, if you buy something which is new, when you buy it, you have in mind that you don't own it. In other words, you purchased it, that's true, but when you take a kli, you take a vessel or a pot, whatever it is, and you pick it up, normally your intention is that I own it now. So you have in mind when you buy something new, you're not being kona it, you're not taking it into your possession. And essentially what you're doing is you're using an ownerless vessel. And an ownerless vessel does not require immersion in a mikveh. We would never rely on this opinion except in an emergency situation like now. That's if you buy something new. Now, if you already bought something and you have some things that you already bought and you didn't have this in mind, what I just told you, because who would have that in mind? So now what you have to do, let's say you've got, 3 new pots and you didn't have in mind when you bought them that you didn't own them. So you own them. What you do is you're mafkir them. And mafkir means you make something hefker, you declare it ownerless. And you have to do that so 3 Jewish people can hear you, and they can be men or women. They should not be related to you. You can do it on the phone. You can do it on Zoom. You can do it on Skype. You can get 3 friends and stand 6 feet apart. And you declare to them that all of my new pots are hefker. That's to say they are ownerless. And again, you can do that on the telephone or any means that you have where someone who you know can hear you, who's not related to you. And you say they're ownerless, you mafkir them. So once again, your kalim are ownerless, and therefore they do not have to be toveled. In both scenarios, when Pesach's over, go tovel your kalim once we're allowed to use the mikvahs again. you will see this being written about. One of the Rabbanim is writing up a couple of regulations regarding this very unusual year. That's going to be on there. So I'm just going to say it one more time because it's very unusual and something we would not normally do. I'll just repeat it. If you're buying something that's new, when you buy it, have in mind that you're not taking ownership of it. And then you don't have to tovel it. And once we're allowed to use the mikveh again, of course, you tovel it. Secondly, if you already own new vessels and they are in your possession, you do own them, you just haven't toveled them yet. You take 3 people through any means of communication that they can hear you. No, email is not okay. They have to hear you. And you declare that they are hefker. All my new kalim are hefker. They're ownerless. At that point, you can use them without toveling in the mikveh. And then when we can use the mikveh again, you tovel them. Only this year, hopefully, and only this year only, we don't have this situation again. We are relying on opinions in halacha because we have to. And that was the decision of the Vad HaRabbanim. We all agreed on that. And as I said, that's supported by Rabbi Heinemann and Rabbi Hopper, who were part of that body of Rabbanim.
Rabbi, this is Elon. I'm sorry, I have to drop off. I just have one quick question, if that's okay.
Sure, Elon.
So I koshered my oven already, but I didn't do it at high enough. I did it at 450 for 40 minutes. Do I have to start from scratch and do it at 550 for an hour, or am I kind of halfway there and don't have to
Has
do
it been, it's been unused?
Yeah, it's been on. I just moved into this apartment, so it's unused and clean and everything. So.
I'm not sure. So I'm going to have to be cautious and say just turn it on again.
Okay.
You already cleaned it, right? It's not, you don't have to clean it anymore. It's already clean.
Yeah, it's already clean. So my question is just if I have to do a full hour at 550 or if it's less time because it's I did some.
I'm gonna say yes just because I'm not sure.
Okay.
So put it on an hour for 550 just to make sure.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate
You're welcome.
The
Sorry, you had a question?
Resident.
Sarah?
If you buy a pot online, is it considered the first category or second category? You haven't received it yet, so you bought it online. Is it when you get it, you could say it's ownerless because you haven't held it, or?
Yeah, sometime before it arrives at your house, you have in mind that you're not going to acquire it when you pick it up.
Just have it in mind before it arrives.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Rabbi?
Yes, Danny?
Regarding Erev Pesach and the minhag, or some people have to hear a siyum, or you have to fast. Did the rabbis talk about that maybe in their conferences?
Yes, we did. Okay, so let's talk about that. This will also be sent out to the community. So the siyumim this year for firstborns will be done over the telephone or over Zoom. So someone's going to make a siyum in our shul, and we will set up a Zoom siyum. And normally, as I said, we wouldn't do that. It's better to be there in person. But as long as you can listen in and you can hear the Baal HaMasayim, and you should have a little food where you are going to be listening in, because the guy making the siyum can't, hand it to you as much as he wants to. So have some food, and it should be something special, something nice. That doesn't have to be, a whole meal, but just something that's nice, as opposed to like a little, piece of pastry to cookie or something like that. It should be something that's nice. You can use anything. You can use anything to eat at the siyum, but just to make it a little more kovedik, it's nice to have something nice. So the siyum will be done over the telephone, over the Zoom rather, and we'll be sending it out from the shul to listen in, and that will be how we're going to do it this year.
Isn't there a Kaddish with that?
No, there will not be a Kaddish with the Siyum because it's not really a minyan. Now, while we're on that topic, I'll also mention the other thing, which I mentioned at one of our Zoom minyanim, is that the chametz burning this year will not be as it always is, because we can't congregate like that in large numbers. And also, those huge trash bins that are so conveniently located there every year will not be available this year. So the decision of the Vad HaRabbanim is this: we do not want people, the entire Orthodox community of Baltimore, making fires in their yard. That's not a good idea. Fire hazard. So if you have a grill at home, and a lot of people have a grill, then burn your 10 pieces of chametz that you'll have from checking the night before. Burn them on your grill. In the morning, where you normally be at the racetrack burning your chametz, burn it in your grill. If you don't have a grill, flush it down the toilet, like we do when Erev Pesach falls out on Shabbos. So either one of those two things, but don't make fires like in your yards and just stam fires and burn your chametz. It's either a grill that you already have, burn it there, or flush it down the toilet. And I'm sorry, one more thing. In terms of the garbage, a lot of people in Baltimore City have their garbage picked up on Wednesday. And this year, Wednesday is Erev Pesach, so that's very convenient. And what you have to do with your garbage is when you put it in front of your house on Tuesday night or Wednesday morning, then you declare that the garbage can itself is hefker. The garbage that's in your can, that will be covered by your declaration when you burn chametz, that all of your chametz is nullified and like the dust of the earth. That will cover the garbage in the can. But the garbage can itself also needs to be hefker, ownerless. So Tuesday night or Wednesday morning, you should declare your garbage can ownerless. The reason for that is in case there's actual chametz inside of your garbage can and you own the garbage can, you bring it back to your house, now you've got chametz in your possession. So it's a precaution against that. If you have garbage collection on Thursday, Yitzi Schleifer is working on an additional pickup so that the garbage will be picked up on Thursday. I'm sorry, is that correct? Yeah, on Thursday. It's not an additional pickup. They'll pick up the garbage on Thursday. So what you have to, this is what might happen. They're working on an additional pickup so that if your garbage is on Thursday, normally it will be picked up on Wednesday. But that might not happen. If that doesn't happen, you put out your garbage on Wednesday, even though your garbage is not going to get picked up until Thursday. Put it out on Wednesday morning. Do the same thing. Declare your garbage can hefker. Your garbage itself is already hefker because of your declaration when you burn your chametz, and just leave it there till Thursday morning, and the garbage man will take it. After Yom Tov, the first days of Yom Tov, you can then pull your cans back up to your house. Talia, yeah, please. Talia, you have to unmute yourself.
I was trying.
Thank you.
Okay.
It was a dog. It was a dog. A cat. It was a cat.
Technical inability. Do we need 3 witnesses outside our family when we declare our trash cans ownerless?
Yeah, similarly, that requires the same 3 people. So yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You can, and again, you can do that by telephone as well, or however you want.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sure.
Rabbi Goldberger.
Yes.
This is Avi, son and
Hi, Avi.
Hi. Hot water urn that we use during the year.
That should be replaced for Pesach.
Okay. All right.
Daddy?
Yes. Hi, Shlomo.
Hey there. For the 10 small pieces of chametz, would it be permissible in our homes to put them in a chametz stick toaster oven that we're going to be putting away anyways, and turn them to ash or whatnot to fulfill the biur?
You mean to burn them in your toaster oven?
Yeah.
Well, halachically it's fine, but it's going to make a lot of smoke. But you could, if they're little teeny tiny pieces and you burn them up in there and they burn up and you don't mind the smoke, just be, also always be careful for fires, God forbid, you know. Halachically it's okay. In terms of safety and smoke, you have to decide for yourself that that's going to be okay.
Toda.
Bakasha.
Quick
Anybody else
question.
out there?
Yeah, I have a quick question.
Yes, is that Meira?
Yeah.
Okay.
In terms of garbage cans, do they need to be cleaned? And if so, what do we do because they're full of garbage? Our garbage pickup is Wednesday, so it will be taken away. Should we bring it in then and clean it?
Yeah, you don't need to do a thorough cleaning of your garbage can. Just spritz it with Windex or bleach and you're fine. You don't have to scrub it.
Okay.
Just spritz it with some kind of chemical and then you're fine.
And that's something we should do after the garbage is taken on Wednesday, not beforehand. Like, it's okay to do that close to Yom Tov.
You should do it in the morning. You should do it Wednesday morning before the prohibition of chametz.
Well, sometimes the garbage isn't picked up till
Oh,
like
okay.
afternoon.
So then I would say this, then spritz it beforehand.
Okay.
And then when they pull the bags out, if you need to spritz it again, just spritz it again.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Is there any, Howard, is there any advantage to putting the garbage cans in a number of different kind of situations on this, in the street, Reshut Rabbi, versus on our sidewalk? If there is chametz, or let's say in the middle of Pesach, you find something that's chametz stick, is there something to take it and put it in the Reshut Rabbi?
So in terms of your garbage can, I'd say to put just the sidewalk is fine. You don't need to put it out in the street. And I would just also from a safety perspective, I'd recommend not to put it in the street. But as far as the halachic part of it, there's no difference between the sidewalk and the street. If you, so put it on the sidewalk. If you find chametz on Pesach in your house, basically that was sold. That was already sold. So not on Yom Tov, but on Chol Hamoed, you put it away immediately with in one of your cabinets where you have sold your chametz, because he bought it.
So even if it's like a pretzel or a cookie or something?
Yeah, just if it's, now I'll just define that a little more. If it's Yom Tov itself, you have to cover it because it's basically muktzah. You have to cover it.
Right.
And if it's not Yom Tov, if it's Chol Hamoed, then you put it away with the chametz stuff that you've already put away.
Okay.
If you feel that it's something that's so negligible that he would not have bought it, then I would say to flush it down the toilet.
Okay, thank you.
And wash your hands after you touch it.
For 20 seconds, really well.
Now, there probably are some more questions on the kitchen, so I'm just going to leave it for right now. But what I'm going to do is talk about for a moment the rest of your house. I'm just going to really make one claw, especially this year, which is a very challenging year for people, especially if you have a lot of kin and hora, little kiddies running around your house and no school. So basically, don't get involved in scrubbing the rest of your house. Just wipe surfaces down, the surface of your dresser, of your desk, just wipe the surface down. Eyeball it and see, do you see any chametz there? You don't see chametz there, it's fine. Similarly, when you're going in your dresser drawers, open up your drawer. If you don't see any chametz in there, like you just move around your clothing a little bit. If you don't see any chametz in there, it's fine. Don't worry about it. If you want to be more machmir, like people are in general, and take the stuff out of your dresser drawers and wipe out the drawer and put it back, I'm not going to stop you. But if you want to talk about what's the bare minimum, especially this year, just wipe surfaces, look in drawers, and that's it. These are places which in general, you're not going to find chametz, in your dresser drawers where you put your clothing. I can't tell you that halachically you don't have to look there. You do have to look there, because anybody over the course of the year can go to their dresser drawer, open it up with a cookie in their hand and drop in a few crumbs. Anybody could do that. So you got to look in there, because people walk around their house nowadays with food. So food could be anywhere. If you're makpid in your house that certain rooms never have food in them, never, not even once, then you don't have to look in that room. But that's not the case for most people. Even rooms they say doesn't have food, somebody went in there, they forgot, they had a sandwich in there, they had a donut in their hand. So unless you know for sure, no one's ever been in that room with chametz. Otherwise, just eyeball it, wipe down the surfaces, look around, you're done. Don't spend your time scrubbing and cleaning every dresser drawer and every other surface in your house. It's much more kedai and halachically necessary to spend that time in your kitchen with all the koshering where food really is going on, and your dining room table and your kitchen table. That's where you want to spend more time. The rest of your house, basically clean it, wipe it, eyeball it, that's all. Okay, Glenna, please, go ahead.
Yes, just to make the distinction, when you say chametz, that's the actual categories of chametz. Just because something might be in your drawer or somewhere that's just not kosher for Pesach but not chametz, that's not the same thing?
Something that's not kosher to Pesach is chametz. The other possibility is that it's kitnios, it's a soy product.
No, I'm thinking of something that's, I don't know, like you found a piece of egg. That's not chametz.
Okay, so right, eggs are not chametz, so not a problem.
So
right.
Something that was actually, it might not be kosher for Pesach and you couldn't eat, but it's not actually chametz or kitnios.
Let's say you found an apple in a drawer, right? An apple.
Right. Okay, good idea. Good example.
So you take it out and you get rid of it because it's been around during the year. And it shouldn't be around on Pesach.
Okay.
We're just using an apple for an example. Obviously, it's not going to last that long, whatever it might be. So yeah, that's not chametz at all, but it's been around, so you got to get rid of it. Anybody else?
Yes.
Who's that?
Whoever was before me, go ahead.
No, you can go.
All right. On behalf of those with small children,
yes.
There is, I guess, a broad category of odd places where chametz might be. So just to give like two distinctions, it could very likely be in between the couch cushions, and it could also perhaps be underneath the couch itself. So the couch cushions that's pretty easily done. For a year like this, do we need to be moving around furniture, moving around beds, moving around couches and moving things around because it's quite possible that crumbs are underneath there, or insofar as it's not visible and not going to be moved over Pesach, what would you recommend we do for things like that?
Okay, so what you should do is this, that take a flashlight and look underneath the bed, look underneath the couch. That's sufficient. If you don't see any food under there, you're fine.
Okay.
In terms of the crevices in the cushion, I'm glad you mentioned that. There's usually chametz in there.
I just checked. There's definitely chametz in there.
Yeah, much more so than there would be in a dresser drawer. I would say you should most definitely put your hand in those crevices of your couches and chairs and just get the stuff out of there and give it a little spritz with a rag and wipe that out. But
Okay,
people find a lot of chametz in those crevices in between the cushions.
Thank
so that you should do.
Got it. Toda.
Okay. Ira?
Yeah.
Regis?
Okay, so I saw something, I think it was from a Dayan in Eretz Yisrael, Hasidish, saying about crumbs this year, like if you have little kids, you should be focusing on taking care of them in terms of all the things we need to be doing because they're not in school and they're not having the regular things going on. And to not worry as much as previous years, like because the crumbs become like dust of the earth. In terms of that, like with the under couch thing, is that something that can be
Well,
related?
that's actually what I'm saying. And I actually did see that letter. I thought it was a very good letter.
Mm-hmm.
That really pretty much the same thing I'm saying. Not to spend time, just look. So you could shine a flashlight underneath your couch. If you have little children, you can find a bagel under there.
Right.
You know? No problem.
Mhm.
So just look under there, under your couch, under your bed. Look with a flashlight. If you see anything, then you're fine. Don't move it. If you see a cookie or a bagel, pull it out. You know, that's it. But that really is what I'm saying. Just a general cleaning. Look around and see if you see any chametz with your eyes. If you don't see it, you're okay.
Okay, and in terms of the drawers and dressers, I don't think my kids bring food up there, but like sometimes things happen, you know?
Yes.
Would that be considered something like the couch, like should I be emptying my drawers? If you
No,
have
I'm
both
saying you
kids?
don't have to. I'm saying you don't have to empty your drawers. Just open the drawers and look around, look in the drawer with your eyeball. Just eyeball it. If you don't see anything, you're fine.
Okay.
I'll tell you about it afterwards.
Rabbi,
Yes.
about the garbage. Am I right? We could take garbage out on Shabbos or Yom Tov because it would be gross in our house, right?
Yeah, the halacha is garbage is muksa in general. But the Chachamim say that if you have garbage in your house and it's bothering you or it smells, you can take it out of your house and put it in your garbage can outside, you know, near the side of your house. You can do that.
But you can't bring the container back to your house.
Right. What you have to do, if in terms of you're talking about a garbage bag?
No, the city, the large container that we put it
Right.
out.
Right. So if they did not have garbage in them going into Yom Tov, but they were already emptied, and then
No, I'm thinking about a day that the garbage pickup is, say, like the first day of Yom Tov.
okay. So you put your cans out there before Yom Tov. If they had garbage in it going into Yom Tov, then the garbage men pick it up the next day on Yom Tov morning. So yeah, you can't bring those cans up to your house because they had garbage in them going into Yom Tov and they were muksa.
So their status is muksa because of the.
Correct. But if they were empty before Yom Tov or Shabbos started, then you can bring them up. If you forgot to bring them up before, and you can bring them up on Yom Tov itself.
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
If they were empty before Shabbos or Yom Tov
Oh,
started,
and we just didn't put
you
them
just
in.
forgot to bring them up to your house, then you can
Okay.
pull them up on Shabbos or Yom Tov.
Maybe this is outside the scope, but it just concerns me about the Chilul Hashem when like half or more of the people on the block are from, and we leave our garbage things out for 2-3 days. And
Yeah, it's a good point. You know what? I don't know if it'll work for you, but you can kick them. You can kick them up to the side of your house, so they won't be out there by the street.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead, Shana.
I wanted to ask, how do you recommend cleaning as far as kids' books that they consistently bring to the table and read while they're eating breakfast, etc.?
One of those things that can drive a parent crazy, right? What do you do with kids' books before Pesach? Okay, so first of all, I would recommend that you have a certain amount of books that you're going to leave for Pesach. And whatever they are, they are. And you wipe them off on the inside and the outside.
Wipe on the inside, like wipe every
Well,
page, or just like shake it
covers,
out?
the covers.
Okay.
Just wipe off the covers, and then you're done. If you want to be more careful, then take that book and go like this. Give it a little shake.
Okay.
Which is fine. And either way, don't bring those books to the table. So books that are out during the year should never come to the table on Pesach. They should stay away. If you want to have books at the table on Pesach, buy a couple of new books before Pesach and bring them in.
Okay, and what about books that are not usually brought to the table, like Svarim and stuff that people might be more careful not to eat their breakfast with? Do you have to clean them, or can you just leave them on your shelf and still use them?
You can just wipe them off on the outside, and that's okay. And if it's too much to take every book and wipe it off on the outside, which it is for a lot of people allow this for them, then just wipe off the spine of the book that's facing you. Just give it a wipe like that, and that's fine. And if that's too much, also because of this year, just look at it. Just look at the books sitting on your shelf. If you don't see any chametz there, you're fine.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Could I ask about the garbage can?
Yes.
Hefker thing, the 3 witnesses?
Yes.
Now, actually, I really hope that the husbands will take care of this, but
Yes.
that they'll do this on their Zoom SIEM. But, yeah. Otherwise, like, it's a very busy day. Like gathering 3 witnesses together to declare your garbage cans Hefker sounds like another thing to worry about.
Yeah.
So,
Just make sure somebody does it in your house.
okay.
Put it on the list.
Does it have to be that morning? Can we do it the day before, even though they're, so that it doesn't have to be done right sometimes having to do something right at a certain time is very stressful. But if it could be done, as part of
Can we do it now?
No, because the continual use of it, basically you take possession of by continual use of it.
But also, actually, another point is that our garbage can is actually owned by the city.
Right. The large green garbage cans are owned by the city. We don't own them anyway.
Right.
So you don't have, I'm glad you mentioned that. You don't have to make them Hefker. You don't own it in the first place.
Oh.
But the other ones that you're going to be using, people usually have a couple more. Those are the ones you have to declare Hefker.
Uh-huh. So how far in advance would that happen?
Day before.
The day before. In other words, okay. So it does not have to be right at that time when the garbage is all being put out, fine food,
Right.
Okay. Okay. But anyway, the men could do it in the Zoom thing. The men could do it in the Zoom thing in the morning, right?
I'm going to make a suggestion to make it uniform, and halakhically it's a good thing to do. Right before they're being brought out to the street, when you're bringing them out, that would be a good time to do it. But if you think that you won't be able to find 3 people, then do it earlier.
And Rabbi,
Yes.
this is because there could be chametz in the trash can.
Correct.
And a visual check would not be enough for that? My
Well,
trash can's pretty clean.
Let's say what happens, that you have your garbage bags inside of your garbage can. And let's say that the garbage men don't come until the afternoon. So because that garbage can is yours, it has acquired what's in the garbage bag on your behalf. And nowadays, we might have some food in our garbage bag which is quite edible. Not everything in our garbage bags is disgusting. So maybe you got rid of a box of crackers the day before Pesach, and just threw the box in your garbage, and it's sitting there. It would be completely edible. Not that anybody would go in their garbage and eat it, but it's edible. So if that's still in your can on Pesach after the time of burning is over, you own those crackers.
Okay.
So by declaring your garbage can hefker, it will not acquire whatever may have been left in there on your behalf. That's what's happening there. If all of your garbage is taken out Wednesday morning, if your garbage men come Wednesday morning at 9 o'clock and they're done, you don't have to do this. Just bring your garbage back up.
Pick up the house phone.
But it's too hard to make these distinctions, to say in the morning yes, in the afternoon no. I'm saying in the morning no, in the afternoon yes. So I'm just telling you, if your garbage men come 8, 9 o'clock on Wednesday morning and they empty your garbage, then you just look in your can and there's nothing in there, which there probably isn't. You don't have to do this.
Okay. While I have the mic, can I ask a question about the grill?
Yes.
I remember doing that once and a piece of bread fell through. What would the status of,
It
is that
fell
okay?
through
That's
to
just
where?
to the bottom of the grill.
It was just sitting there?
Yeah.
If it's not going to burn up, then take a bottle of Windex or something like that and spritz it.
Okay. Thanks.
Glenna, yeah, please.
Rabbi, for those of us that are old and fading, is there another topic you're going to cover
No.
after this, or is it just questions on the same?
No, that was it. It was the kitchen and the house.
Oh,
In
Rabbi
ter-
Goldberger? Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Just
Rabbi
one second. Aviva, just 1 second. In
Yeah.
terms of products and things like that, the books now are so well done. They're so thorough. The Star K, the OU, Rabbi Blumenkrantz, a lot of them are online. Just take a look at the online books for food and medicine, and most of your questions will be answered regarding products. And if it's not, what you have to end up doing anyway, which is what I would do, is call the kashrus agency that's working with that product. But nowadays, that's the route that you have to go. So just use the book for the medicine and the food. If you have a question, call the Star K, the OU, the OK, the CRC, then you're okay. Aviva, yeah, please.
Yes, I have a question. Since I live in an apartment building, my trash, I bring it to the laundry room and there's a garbage chute. Anything special I need to know besides that the trash should go down the chute Wednesday?
Yeah, you need to make sure your garbage is in that chute Wednesday morning before the time of the prohibition for chametz. But you do not need to declare that big trash can out there hefker because it's not yours anyway.
Right.
So you don't need to do that.
Okay. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Nice.
And I just want to mention that I want to say everybody should have a very beautiful Yom Tov, and we should all be safe and healthy and well and practice good social distancing, to be really careful. And hopefully we will all be, B'ezras Hashem, in good health.
Amen.
Rabbi, I didn't know you were such a trash talker.
I'm available as always at my phone number at Shul for additional questions. And I'm tuning in every morning and every evening for Shachris and Mincha Marav. You could catch me there as well, right after a minyan, after the Devar Halacha. You can ask me a question there too.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a good night, everybody. Chag kosher v'sameach.
Good night, Rabbi Goldberger.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you. Chag kosher v'sameach.
Amen. Gam atem.
Right.